What is going on, IF Warriors? It's your boy Edward V, and today we're going to talk about what to expect when you're beginning your intermittent fasting journey, what you should prepare yourself for, and what are the possible outcomes when you first start intermittent fasting. And I'm going to break it all down in this video. Stay tuned. Alright guys, quickly before we start, this video is brought to you by yours truly, Fledge Fitness and the Fledge Fitness Jump Rope. If you haven't gotten yours yet, what are you waiting for? With an ergonomic design, aluminum handle, and swivel design, you can't go wrong with the Fledge Fitness Jump Rope. You can click on the top right hand corner of this video or down in the description box below. And of course, as always guys, thank you so much for your support. Now let's go ahead and jump right into the video. Okay, so what should you expect when you are beginning your intermittent fasting journey? Well, for one is hunger, and a lot of it. Now, the reason that this hunger comes into play is not really because you're starving, as people like to say, oh, I tried it once and I was starving. It isn't really so much that you're starving, but that your body is used to eating at specific times throughout the day. One thing that will shock you, and has shocked many, is how quickly your body actually becomes adapted to the times that you're eating when doing intermittent fasting. That's right, your body actually starts to work its way into whatever scheduling that you place upon it. So if you start eating for 8 hours throughout the entire day at a specific time, your body will actually become hungry when that time hits. So if it's, I don't know, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, that's when your body will start to feel hungry, or that's when you will start to feel those hunger cues. Now, this is simply because hormonally, there are so many things in your body made for you to survive. And one of the things is ghrelin that shoots at a normal kind of pace dependent on how you actually eat. And if you shift that, it's going to fight against you because it wants you to eat during those times. And you will feel ravishingly hungry. But once you get over that hump, and it takes usually about 2.5 weeks, you will actually be in a different flow and be able to do intermittent fasting without any issues in terms of hunger. Another thing that you will notice when you do intermittent fasting, when you begin your journey into intermittent fasting, is the weight will drop significantly on your first week. Usually the first week is the most powerful week for most people in terms of the number on the scale. But I don't want that number on the scale to make you think something's happening that isn't actually happening, because believe it or not, a lot of people start to fall off of intermittent fasting, not really after the first week, but because of the impression they got on the first week and the subsequent weeks that follow that first week. So because you're losing so much water weight, because glycogen buildup is being flushed out, you have to remember that the way intermittent fasting works and why it's so effective with fat loss is because it washes out or it clears out the glycogen stores that you have, and then your body has, your brain needs glycogen. So if it doesn't have glycogen in the body that is stored, what it does is it replaces glycogen with ketone bodies, and this comes from the beta hydroxybutyrate in the liver that pulls fatty acids and changes it into ketone bodies, and that goes up to the brain instead. So your brain basically says, okay, you don't have glucose, but I'm going to use your fats, your fat, to create ketone bodies, and ketones will replace the energy source from glucose. Now, it is because of this that burning body fat is incredibly effective with an intermittent fasting system. But glycogen contains water, and glycogen contains its own weight. So when you flush that out in the beginning, the first week, you're going to see a massive weight drop, but then it will stabilize because you don't have much of that, because you're not carrying glycogen constantly in your body. So you will have that stabilization of weight loss, and it will start to slow down. And it is at this point that people actually think, oh, it doesn't work. It worked in the beginning, but it doesn't work now, because they only use one metric of measurement, which is the scale. But the best metric of measurement to use is your clothing, the way you look in the mirror, those physical things, because you can be losing body fat doesn't mean that you're losing pounds of body fat on a daily basis. Okay, so I just want you to know that you're going to lose a lot of weight in the beginning. Is it going to be body fat per se? Some of it, yes, but most of that weight, no. Then you have to keep that in mind moving forward, because 1 pound of body fat is a lot of mass. So please keep that in mind. Another thing that you may notice is that in the beginning, you may have a lack of energy as your body is trying to kind of break itself into doing this intermittent fasting system. But after about 2.5 weeks, you may actually have a lot of energy or perceive yourself to have a lot of energy because of the fight or flight hormone. Epinephrine is going to be shooting up. Now, the fight or flight happens when the body thinks that there's some stressors, and just because you have stressors that your body's dealing with doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. It's actually a good thing. You want to deal with some stressors because it kind of sharpens the body. It makes the body a little bit stronger. And because you get that fight or flight, you actually can perform better in a lot of different activities because your energy and focus is heightened. So me, for example, I feel much more comfortable going to the gym, lifting weights and doing all of these things in a fasted state. I feel much more comfortable doing that because I feel more energetic. I actually feel a bit more lethargic when I eat my foods. Now, it's going to be the reverse thing. In the beginning, it will feel like when you're not eating, you feel lethargic, and when you're eating, you feel energetic. But this is because your body just feels more comfortable once you eat because it's not used to you not eating for so long. And one added note when it comes to starting your intermittent fasting journey, I implore you to please do some research, not only on which intermittent fasting system you're going to use, but also on yourself. What intermittent fasting system will work with your lifestyle? Because that's the most important part. If you're fasting and you're dealing with a broken rhythm of what you eat and how you eat, and now you're eating in a different way, and also it's harder on you because your friends aren't fasting, and also it doesn't mix well with your work schedule, your life schedule, you're not going to stick to the intermittent fasting system. So please not only pick the one that makes more sense to you. If you feel that it's a little bit scary, you might want to do a lower fasting, you might want to do a smaller fasting time frame and a larger eating time frame, like the 16-8, 16 hours of fasting, 8 hours of eating. If you feel that it can conflict with your job, you may want to do it when you may want to eat outside of the time frame where you're at your job, or if you want to eat during lunch while you're in your job, you may want to do it during a time frame when you're working. Make sure that the pieces are there for you to succeed, because that is the most important thing. You can do any diet, but if you can't stick to the diet, unfortunately, you're going to gain all the weight back, as the problem isn't necessarily weight loss, because a lot of people can achieve that, but they unfortunately have to achieve that multiple times because the main issue is weight regain. Hopefully this video has helped you guys. And of course, as always, I want to thank my patrons for my Patreon, and I'm going to go ahead and put their names right up here. And as always, guys, I'll see you on Sunday for another FAQ. Peace!